everybody, and welcome to our quick little video today. We're going to be doing a little bit of a focus session on working on our splits today and our flexibility. So before we get going, please just make sure you've got a nice clear space to work in with no trip or slip hazards. Please also do make sure that you have warmed up really well before doing this video. We've got a couple of warm-ups available on our YouTube channel, or you can check out our Facebook page. Please do follow along with those, as it's very important to be properly warmed before you start these exercises. Also, last thing, please make sure you've got a drink with you so that you can stay hydrated during this video. And if you need a drink, pop the video on pause at any time and then come back and join us. So we're going to have a bit of a focus on our splits now, and I'm going to take you guys through some of my favourite exercises that I do to improve my splits. So a lot of people ask me, how do you improve your splits, or how can I get my splits? And I would love to say to you that there's one really easy answer, but the truth is, there isn't one really easy answer. It takes a lot of time and practice to increase your flexibility, and like anything kind of in the dance or the acro world, you have to do exercises on a regular basis to get the improvements that you're looking for. So let's have a go at some exercises together today. And I just want to say to you guys before we get started, please remember we're all made really differently. Our bodies are all different, okay? So it's very important that you work to your own level in these stretches that we're doing, or the exercises that we're doing, and you push to your limit rather than worrying about maybe you can't do the same exercise quite the same as I do it, or the same as your friend does it. This is about you, okay? So use your own progress for your yardstick. Think about where you're starting from, and maybe in a couple of weeks' time, have a look back and see how far you've progressed. And that will be the best measure. So let's have a go at our exercises. Now, the first thing that I want to do is mobilize our hips. So we're just going to lie on the floor. I'm going to prop myself up on my elbows, and I'm just going to take some hip circles. So we're going to lift the leg round with a bent knee. Now, when I do this exercise, and I hope you guys are joining in with me, I'm really thinking about pushing my knee backwards towards my shoulder, right here, and then pushing it down towards the floor as I continue with the circle. If you don't think about that, it's just kind of going to do this. We need to try and push it all the way around and try and get those toes onto the floor. And then the other side. So I do this exercise pretty much every single day. It mobilizes my hip joints. I do it before class, just to get everything moving. And then when I've done it with a bent leg, you guys are going to join me now, we're going to do it with a straight leg. Now I love to do this with my foot flex because it means I can feel more of a stretch behind here into my hamstring and also running down into my calves. So we're going to take the leg all the way back and then circle it round. Again, I'm really thinking here about maximizing this circular movement that I'm making all the way around. And I'm also trying to really work my turnout at the same time. So again, I do this exercise pretty much every day. And then the other side. Now you're probably going to find, a little bit like me, you've got one side that's maybe more flexible than the other. That's completely normal, okay? So it just kind of means you have to work a little bit harder on the weaker side. Now we've done it going that way, on day or outwards. Let's do the same thing on the don. So we need to bring the leg around, try to keep the toes on the floor or pointing towards the floor as much as you can. You're keeping your hips nice and still as well. One more. And then the other side. This bit isn't really that scientific, to be honest. I'm not actually counting how many circles I'm doing. It's more kind of a mobilization, warm-up, little exercise that I just do, and I feel it in my own body. When I feel like my hip joints are kind of loosened up, that I'm like, okay, that's good, that's enough. So I'm feeling that just about now. Okay, so next one, just to get ourselves mobile into the splits, we're going to take a nice stretch into the hip flexor. So when we're doing our hip flexor stretch, keep your knee right over your ankle, and we're just going to push the hips forwards. Now a lot of people think that when we do the hip flexor stretch, that you have to go really far down in order to stretch that out. Now obviously going far down is going to stretch you, but in this angle right here, you can really get into the hip flexor in a slightly different area which is very good for our splits. So keep it shallow in the lunge, but squeeze forwards with the hips. And then we're going to progress forwards into deep lunge. So still keep your knee over your ankle, lunging down nice and deep. Put one hand onto the floor if you can, and we'll stretch up to the ceiling. This is kind of one of the most standard stretches, and it's a really good one. So we should do this one pretty much again every day. Now from here, we're going to turn into a sideways stretch. So you might have different levels. You might just be here, that's absolutely fine. Or we might be a lot further down. So again, when I do this stretch, I just like to feel, trying to get down into the stretch, really pushing my hip bones towards the floor so that I'm stretching out. I've got this leg turned down as well. And then I'm just going to walk that across to the other side to stretch out. So again, please keep this to your own level. If you need to be here, even if your hands aren't going on the floor, that's fine, okay? Just make sure that you're still feeling a nice stretch into the thigh here, the inner thigh, and the hips are opening up, ready for our splits. Great. Let's turn that one around onto the other side now. Starting with that first hip flexor stretch, so the shallow one, the over ankle, push the hips forwards. Great job, guys. Feel that stretch right across here in the hip flexor. And then deepen that one down, hand on the floor, reaching up to the ceiling. Great. Okay, so my last prep stretch before I actually go for some splits is I'm just going to take a pike stretch going forwards. So sitting up nice and tall, all we're going to do is try and hinge forwards and reach for our toes or beyond our toes. So again, there's going to be lots of levels here. You might find that this is your stretch. Okay, great. So long as you're feeling a nice stretch here, that's absolutely fine. The idea is to find your point of stretch, okay? Don't go through it, don't go blasting through it. You don't want to rip any hamstrings or anything. So find your point of stretch, whether it's here, a little further, wherever it is, okay? If you're very flexible, you want to reach beyond your toes. So we're completely in a flat pike. Great. Now we've stretched that out, we're going to have a go at the splits. So with this one, obviously go as far as you can, and if you can't quite make it down into the splits, you need to stop at the point where you can get to. So say you get to here, and then just flex that front foot, and then point, flex and point. And that's a nice exercise to do to increase your flexibility, ready to progress into the splits. So here we are, and into the splits now, just getting nice and square in my hips. You can check this out by putting one hand across the front leg, one hand across the back leg, and taking a little spiral to make sure that this hip is dropping down, because you don't want to do a cheat split where your hip is picked up off of the floor. This is not a split, this is just ugly, okay? So we want to make sure those hips are down. And then let's give that a go on the other side. So just trying to feel nice and square, checking out the spiral. Okay, great stuff. Now then, for the front splits, I have another little exercise that is good fun to do, which is just a walking split. So, if you're not quite in the splits for this one, you should do this in a hurdle position. So we're going to just put one hand down and the other arm up into the air. All you're going to do is swing the back leg across the front leg into the other split. So it goes across and you slide down. So keeping that hurdle position if you're not quite in the splits. Okay, if you've got a really big studio or big room you're working in, you can literally do this all the way down the room. If you've got your splits, you're going to go from here. I'm just going to keep it a little bit more on the angle. So you're going to go from here, you swing the leg around and change. Swing the leg around and change. So I feel like I'm probably going to go out of camera shot if I keep going. but it's a really nice exercise to do your walking split to go down the room. So have a go at that one, everyone. Take the weight into your hand. Feel this position. You want to have a good finish position. So you don't want to kind of get there and feel like this. Feel nice and stretched out. Swing through, keep these legs straight into the other split. Swinging through, keeping the legs straight into the split. So walking split, have a practice of those. And the last one that I'm going to leave you with today is nice stretch for our box splits. So in our box splits, if you don't have your box split yet, you just go to your best straddle position, wherever that might be. All we're going to do is pick one leg up so that you're sitting nice and tall, and you'll already feel a bit more of a stretch coming into this leg. And then from there, bring your hands forward and very, very slowly and carefully, so that you don't shock your body or pull a muscle, we're just going to lean forwards into this stretch. So you're increasing the stretch through this leg. Now, obviously, if you've got your box splits already, you'll be in the box splits. This will be a way of working into oversplit. So you still take the same position, but you're trying to keep it a lot more open. So you're basically very, very square in your box position, and then leaning forwards. This is a good way of working for your oversplits, but without majorly stressing your body. Obviously, we have two legs. That's right, we've got to have a go on the other side as well. So get yourself nice and square, best straddle that you can, or your box split, and then leaning forwards. Take it very slowly. All of these stretches, you want to be nice and slow going into them. And then coming back up. And just enjoy stretching out in your best straddle or your box split. So that's pretty much it on a little bit of a splits focus there, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed doing that with me, and I hope that you will be practicing your splits pretty much every day now, trying to improve them, getting a little bit closer to the splits each time. If you've already got your splits, working perhaps for a little bit of flexibility beyond that. But just remember, oversplits are great, they look really pretty, everyone wants to do them, but you have to increase your strength at the same time as your flexibility. Otherwise, you're just basically going to damage yourself. And pushing for oversplits or really, really crazy oversplits does run the risk of overstretching ligaments and tendons and things like that. So please always approach that sort of stretching only under the guidance of a professional, a trainer or a teacher, so that you're really being very, very careful with yourself. Like I said, it's imperative that you increase strength alongside flexibility, otherwise you're just going to get injured, okay? So, there we go, that's everything for today. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and please make sure that you guys cool down, grab yourselves a drink, get a nutritious snack. You've done really well. Thank you so much for joining with me today. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button so that you get notifications about all of our videos. We have lots of different videos on our channel, everything from dance classes to Chantry Dance performances, interviews, and more fitness and stretching work. So we would love to see you guys as a subscriber. Thanks so much again, everybody. Sending you loads of love, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.